Bosch is a company headquartered in Germany. It was started by Mr. Robert Bosch. The vision of the founder was that whatever we earn, most of it should go back to the society. So he actually converted the entire business into a charitable trust. So currently the entire business of Bosch worldwide is owned by a charitable trust called Robert Bosch Stiftung, which owns 92% of this company, and 7% of the company is owned by the founder's family, and 1% of the earning goes to meet the administrative expenses. So in line with the vision of the founder, in India also we focus a lot on the social service. So we have 3 organizations here in India. One is called as Bosch India Foundation, in line with what we have in Germany. The second one is the CSR department, because as per the Act now you are supposed to spend 2% of your profit on the CSR. So we have a department in each one of the company. We have 12 companies here in India also, and about 18 factories we have. And the third organization is actually an employees organization, which is funded by the employees and not by Bosch business. That has been named as Primavera. Primavera is a German name. Prima stands for excellent, and Vera stands for cause. So it's an excellent cause. This was an organization which was started by some retired Bosch employees about 28 years before, and they work in 13 different countries, India being one of them. We get some funds from Germany for Indian children, and we support 10 projects, and through those 10 projects we support about 1100 children in India. That's the money which comes from the employees of Bosch. Coming to Bosch CSR, again there we have 3 focus areas. The biggest one is the vocational training. We actually have a vocational training center in Germany, which of course train people for business mainly. But similarly, we have a vocational training center in India, which was started 56 years before. We had the privilege of hosting Mr. Narendra Modi along with Angela Merkel. Both of them came to visit the training center and see how we run the German vocational training successfully here in India. A year before that, we also had the German president who visited, and we also had the honor of having Mr. Abdul Kalam, Dr. Abdul Kalam, and he also visited the center. So in that center, which is 56-year-old now, we run the German vocational training program on the apprenticeship model, which is a 3 years long program. We take children after 10 years of schooling, and then we train them for 3 years, and after that they become employable. Not only employable, each one of them get a job. Either they get a job in Bosch or they get outside Bosch, but many of them actually prefer to go out of India, and about 1/4 of the total persons trained in that center so far work in Australia. Actually, they have started a colony called Bosch India Colony in Sydney, where about 600 of our apprentices work. That's the biggest alumni association of our center. And now, actually, when they went, they were youngsters, but now there are 600 families actually staying in Sydney, and that colony has been started by our alumni. This is one model, what we call it as a long-term career-oriented model. The second model, which is focused on making the school dropouts employable, is called as Bridge. This is a short-term job-oriented model, which we focus on those who drop out in class 11 or 12. In India, 22 million youth enter in class 11 and 12 every year, and unfortunately only 75% of them pass. So this program is designed to see that those 25% who are not able to pass in class 11 or class 12 but are already at a working age of 18, they are imparted some employable skills, and then they are employed in their first job. So they get their jobs mainly in the service industry at entry-level jobs in different industries. The different industries include automotive dealerships, retail industry like Big Bazaar or Reliance malls, then hotels, hospitality industry, BPOs, and many others. So that is where they get their first entry-level jobs after they get trained into the Bridge program. The third model what we have in the vocational training is to produce world-class artisans. So we have an artisan training center set up in Bangalore for carpenters. We actually got one German expert carpenter, a retired senior person, who helped us in setting that up and trained our trainers and also helped us in developing the curriculum. And now we run that center through which we also want to now create multipliers of the artisan training centers in the country. Similarly, we have one more electrical training center in Nashik, and we are setting up one more for plumbing in Pune. So this is in nutshell what we do in the vocational training space. The second focus of our CSR is health, hygiene and education for underprivileged children who mainly study in government schools. We work in about 300 government schools in Bangalore, and now we have also expanded this program to the other locations like Jaipur and Nashik, where we have our factories. And in Bangalore alone, in 300 schools, we touch the life of about 70,000 children every year. We go and organize the health checkup camps for them in the schools. Then we also provide them medicines. In some cases, they need dental care. So we also have actually donated the dental vans to the NGO who helps us, who is our knowledge partner in taking this program further. And we also give them the spectacles. In many cases, the children don't even know that they need a spectacle because they have never got their eyes tested. So once we come to know that the children have the refraction issues, then we give them the spectacles also. In some cases, we even come across the need of an immediate surgery, and then we also try to first refer them to a government hospital. If the government hospital is able to take care of them, then good. Otherwise, we support that surgeries also, and we make sure that the cases which we come to know of any kind of such need are taken care well and taken to a logical conclusion. So this is our second focus for the CSR. The third focus for the CSR is we call it as neighborhood projects. So these neighborhood projects are actually identified by our different plant managers. Bosch has 18 factories in the country, and the plant managers, based on the local need, they define what actually is needed, and then these projects are supported by the CSR department of Bosch. For example, a plant in Jaipur, their focus area is to set up RO plants in the villages to provide the safe and clean drinking water to the villagers, and they also make it self-sustainable over a period of time. Our Nashik plant focus mainly on the check dams for water conservation. Bangalore plant has recently put up a midday meal kitchen with Akshay Patra, wherein 15,000 meals are produced every day and supplied to the children in the government schools. So these are some of the examples of the neighborhood projects. The bridge program which I mentioned is now being scaled up. As we talk, we have this program running in 125 centers in the country, and we have trained and employed more than 14,000 youth so far. Perhaps this is the only program in the country which ensures 100% of the employment of these underprivileged, less educated youth. We also work with 3 state governments, Karnataka, Maharashtra and Rajasthan. In Rajasthan, we started this bridge center in 33 ITIs, and now we have 36 centers running. As of today, more than 2,500 youth have been trained and employed through the bridge program in Rajasthan alone. 2% of the profit which is to be spent for the CSR as per the act in the country by many companies find it very difficult actually to utilize this money effectively. Many of them do not actually want to simply write a check and give to some NGO and then hope that they will do a good job. Many of them want to see that good job being done, and for that the credibility of the NGO is very, very important. So for us, we have a well-defined process how to select an NGO or any other implementation partner with whom we work. This is also defined in our CSR policy. So my suggestion for these NGOs will be that number one, they should not be only in the resource mobilization mode, because many of the NGOs will come and simply ask for the money. They should actually be able to show some impact of the work which they have done, and that should be shown on the ground and not only simply talking, because with many of the NGOs we have seen something that they will simply talk something in the discussion room, and then later when you go on the ground, the reality is far different from what they actually talk. So if the NGOs are able to deliver values, I feel that many of the CSR departments of the companies will be willing to work with them, because the kind of work which is needed on the ground, very clearly the corporates cannot do. Corporates can bring money, they can perhaps also help through some management skills which they can bring on the board, but they cannot implement on the ground. For the implementation, the NGOs will always be needed, but the credibility of the NGO, the real intention of the NGO to produce result on the ground is something which they will have to prove for the CSR money to be flown into them. The bridge program, as I said, we are expanding now, and we currently have 125 centers in the country. Our vision is to have one such center in every district of the country, which means about 650 to 660 centers in next 3 years. And for that, we actually need the implementation partners. So if we are able to get good NGOs who have some experience in mobilizing the students and in delivering the vocational training with good quality, then we will be actually very happy to work with such NGOs. We are currently looking for at least 2 such partners in each state of India. So if we are able to get about 50 such partners in the country, we will be very happy to work with them for expanding bridge, and so that we can reach out to each and every needy youth in the country who is looking for employable skills.